What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. This is your pregame prediction for the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants going into Week 3 on Monday Night Football.
Down the field, Lamb, 10, 5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
The defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.
Like I said, it is Week 3. The Cowboys are taking on their NFC East rivals, the New York Giants. This is the first division opponent that the Cowboys are going to be seeing this year, and it's pretty unique because the New York Giants are actually 2-0. They're undefeated, which is a huge surprise. You can make an argument about who they've played, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a strong advocate that you don't obviously decide who you play for. You just have to show up and do the best you can and win those games, and that's exactly what the New York Giants done. So regardless of how you feel about whether they're the one of the undeserving teams of the remaining undefeated teams, well, you know, that's your argument. But the New York Giants are 2-0 and the Cowboys are 1-1. So this is a really important game, not only because, you know, it's Week 3 and we're going into a rivalry, but there are some huge division implications when it comes to this, especially with Dak Prescott being out. The Cowboys have kind of hunkered down and kind of really gone into this really battle mode where they can't really allow a lot of mistakes. Last week you had a little, and I talked about this last week, but last week you had a little bit of wiggle room if you lost to an AFC opponent. But if you lose this game or the next game, not only is it an NFC opponent, but it's a division opponent. So this is the most important game of the year right now. I say it's more important than the Cincinnati Bengals game last week, but you know, that's you heard my prediction video when it came down to that. But let's go ahead and go over a couple of key matchups, a couple of key areas that I think the Cowboys and the Giants need to highlight on if the Cowboys want to come out of here with a victory. It's going to be a big game. It really is. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First thing I should say is, like I said, there should be some form of respect for the Giants being 2-0. They've won their games, but I feel as if this is reminiscent of last year when the Cowboys were playing the Carolina Panthers when they came to AT&T Stadium. The Carolina Panthers at the time were undefeated, and there was a lot of hype around their start. Now, my opinion about that is I just really felt like the Carolina Panthers, although they had got those wins deservingly, they definitely weren't up to the caliber of what you think an undefeated team would be. And I kind of feel the same way with the New York Giants. You look at their 2 wins, yes, they were wins, but a little bit of sloppy. Obviously, they got to tweak it. I mean, but they were super close. I mean, that first game against the Titans was, you know, could have gone either way. But you could say the same about the Cowboys and the Bengals, honestly. And I'm going to get into that here in a little bit because we're one kick away from that being a different result, and we're talking about an undefeated team versus a team that hasn't won a game this year, you know. But like I said, so that's kind of how I feel about going into this game. I feel like the Cowboys, they are the better team. I feel like the Giants really have a lot of momentum, rightfully so, because they're 2-0, but they're riding on the momentum of a new culture, a new coach, and they're probably looking at this game the same as we are, where it's a really big test for them because they got swept last year by the Dallas Cowboys. And if they want to make a name for themselves this year, they got to go out here and get a win on their home turf on Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. So they are going to bring their best. And this defense is aggressive. I looked at the film from the past 2 games. Their cornerbacks, especially their secondary, they're not just ball hawks. They're not just really good in coverage man-to-man, but they're very good at getting turnovers. They're very aggressive with their tackling. And so that's something that I've seen the Cowboys struggle with throughout the few years. I can rightfully say that the Cowboys aren't really a tough-built team. Instead, I feel like they're more finessed. And so I feel like the Cowboys, they're going to have a huge test this week. Are they a tough enough football team to go on national TV with the spotlight's on them and win a division game on the road? This is another huge test. We've had 2 home games for the Dallas Cowboys, and we've seen what they played like in those terms. But here we go. On the road, division opponent, big-time matchup. And so my prediction is I think the Giants are going to get a couple of turnovers. I think their cornerbacks and their secondary are really going to cause some issues. Their defensive line, we'll see how it does. But I think they're going to get a couple of turnovers. I think Cooper Cooper Rush is going to have a little bit of a struggle against this defense here at the start of this game. But now let's go to talk about Cooper Rush and this offense, because first week, this offense was a dud. 3 points, nothing. Second week, those first 3 drives, they look fantastic. And that's honestly all that you can talk about. The first 3 drives and the last drive. The first 3 drives were scripted. They were perfect coming out of the gate. Kudos to Kellen Moore and the offense. Cooper Rush delivered a great ball to Noah Brown. We really established our game plan at the beginning. I cannot stress this enough. We have to make adjustments. This game will be a game of adjustments. Scripted plays and scripted game plans will not be effective as it was last week against the Bengals. The Giants are a good team at the moment, and they will adjust accordingly, and they will come firing out of the gate because, like I said, they have a lot to prove. A win on this night would be a huge thing for their team and their ball club, so they're looking for this win. They're going to come out here looking aggressive, and they're going to come out here and do anything they can to win this game. So the Cowboys got to counteract that with smart strategy, smart playing, and smart play call. And so you got to make adjustments. We're going to see a couple of things. We're going to see Michael Gallup back. Mike McCarthy talked about that a little bit today in his press conference. I shoot the pregame prediction videos on Thursday, and I release them on Friday. So I obviously don't have Friday or Saturday's news going into the game. But Michael Gallup is expected to make his season debut on Monday Night Football, which I'm really excited about. This offense really needed some kind of boost right there. I know they kind of addressed the issue with the game plan last week by working in Noah Brown. I really like that, but Michael Gallup is the kind of, he's such a talented player. He can get open. I think he's really going to help CeeDee Lamb also as well get open as well and just spread the ball around pretty well. Not like they needed it, because the Cowboys do have a lot of talent. It's just the way that their game plan and their strategy works out. It needs someone like Michael Gallup to open up the field. And so also Dennis Houston was waived, but he found his way back onto the practice squad because he cleared waivers. So we may see Jalen Tolbert, which I'm really excited about. If you guys have been watching my TikToks, I made one specifically for him. I really want to see our third-round draft pick, Jalen Tolbert, come out here and have a really good game. I want to see him get a few reps because I think he would be a really good weapon. And again, the Cowboys need to use all their weapons. They can't come in here and think that they can just run Zeke down the middle. They have a lot of weapons, and Kellen Moore has to utilize all their weapons in his adjustments, not just the scripted plays and the scripted drives at the beginning of the game. You have Jalen Tolbert, hopefully. You're going to have Michael Gallup. You're going to have CeeDee Lamb. You have Noah Brown, who had 91 receiving yards last week. You have Tony Pollard, Turpin, Ezekiel Elliott. There's no excuses. This is a game that can be won by the Dallas Cowboys, and it all depends on the offense and their ability to make adjustments, because if you look at the game last week against the Bengals, the start of the game was perfect. That's exactly what we want. But it almost felt like a ticking time bomb last week. And I said this in my post-game reaction video for the Bengals, but if that game went on for 4 or 5 more minutes, I think the Cowboys lose that game, because the way that the Bengals were rolling, the way that they were able to establish their tempo on the last offensive drive where they were able to get the touchdown and get the 2-point conversion to tie the game, the Cowboys have to contribute here offensively here in the second half. Not only do they need to come out here with a strong start, but they need to adjust and have a good game in the second half to keep this team in it. And so I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair. I really do. With what I said about the Giants, their defense is going to be aggressive. They're going to want this win more than anything to prove themselves. And the Cowboys offense, I think we still have a few question marks. If you're asking me, I have a lot more concern still with Kellen Moore than I do confidence in the fact that they're going to come out here and establish the game. So my concern and my questions about this offense is overruling my feeling, I guess, of confidence for this offense to actually come out here and establish the game. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. And that brings me to this. We got to stop Saquon Barkley. And I said this in last year's prediction video. But you look at the Cowboys offense. Daniel Jones kind of going in a game management type role last week. We're probably not going to see a game plan push through him. Obviously, we're going to see a few quarterback options and whatnot with him. But this offense is really going to try to start and end with Saquon Barkley. He had over 20 carries last week, so expect the ball to be given to him. Our defensive front, who played fantastic last week, 6 sacks, was able to get back into a really good run defense, good run defense. They have a big task here against Saquon Barkley because not only can he run the ball, he can also be a receiver too. So we're going to see a lot of matchups there with Micah Parsons and Saquon Barkley. And they have some weapons too on the outside too. So we got to keep our eyes on that. The defense, even though they had a good game against Tom Brady in week 1, Joe Burrow in week 2, just because it's Daniel Jones in week 3, and I like Daniel Jones, but just because it's Daniel Jones in week 3 in the New York Giants, just because they have a previous label for them and known for their football club in the past few years, they still present a strong task for the Dallas Cowboys, and you have to go out here and earn this win. It's just not going to be given for the Dallas Cowboys here in week 3, and so you gotta stop Saquon Barkley. You gotta stop him, and like I said, we're looking for other players to step up. Micah Parsons been dealing with the cold. Hopefully it's not as traumatic as maybe, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are hyping it up, but he didn't practice one game. He didn't practice one day. So hopefully it's not going to be as bothering as missing one day of practice. But I do expect other players to come in here and step up. The offense looks a little bit different from our matchups from last year against the New York Giants, but the defense identically looks the same. I'm looking for Dorrance Armstrong to step up again. He had a great game last week against the Bengals. Looking for Dante Fowler to step up. He had another great game. Just overall, looking for a big game for the defense. I'm expecting them to hold this team under 20 points again, which would be a huge win for this defense to go 3 straight weeks, not allowing more than 20 points. And so I'm also looking for DeMarcus Lawrence to step. I feel like he's just been on the field. I know he's made a few tackles, but I'm looking for him to make a big play. I know he makes his plays in the running game, but I want a sack from DeMarcus Lawrence. And usually he has big games against the New York Giants, so I'm looking for a big game from the tank. And so with that being said, those are all the hot keys that I want to point out for this matchup coming in here on Monday Night Football. My prediction, and I'm going to stick with my season prediction video, is I said that the Cowboys were going to beat the Giants in this matchup. Now, this is a game that the Cowboys should win. This is a game that the Cowboys are more than capable of winning, but it all depends on the coaching staff. I know the defense is going to come ready because the defense has come ready for the past 2 weeks, but the offense, the adjustments, the game planning, the scripted plays at the beginning, using his weapons. I'm just going to go in every week thinking about that with Kellen Moore. But I think the Cowboys win this game. I think they advance to 2-1. I think they give the Giants their first loss of the season. I'm thinking of a score maybe 17-14. I don't know if the offense puts up as many points, even though they only put up 20 last week. I don't think it's going to be a huge scoring affair. I think the Cowboys squeak by with another win, but that's good enough because, again, we're in a kind of a little bit of a survival mode without Dak Prescott. And so our first division win of the season would be big, and especially in Dak Prescott's absence, this would obviously put us in a good position to remain competitive in the NFC East and the NFC playoffs. So, like I said, Cowboys should win this game. I expect them to. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a defensive game. It's going to come down to the wire again. That's my prediction. But be sure to comment down below. Let me know your prediction for Monday night. Give me a score. Comment it down below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Cowboys content. And be sure to follow me on Twitter. I tweet during the games, especially on Sunday during all games. And follow me on TikTok and Instagram for daily Cowboys content. I will see you guys next video. Go Cowboys!
On the field, Lamb, 10-5, victory! Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott. How about the rookie Micah Parsons? What a play!
Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl is won by the quarterback.